So this is not a typical video that I would normally post, but I feel like it is far more important and something that needed to be addressed. So a little bit about me. My name is Tori Hadley. I am 19 years old and I am a sophomore at BYU in Idaho. I major in international studies with a minor in economics, and I study human rights and advocacy. I was born and raised in San Diego in a very liberal town. When I got to high school, I was very socially constructed to believe that Blacks are supposed to be Democrats. Then I got to college and everything changed. I started digging deep and was actually being immersed in politics, and I was able to really formulate my own opinion based on facts and realized that I had been lied to and tricked my entire life. I have to tell you guys a secret that's probably going to offend a lot of you and probably confuse most of you too. Black people aren't Republicans, Tori. Well, I am. I know being a Republican is very offensive today and punishable by being canceled. Before you dislike this video and unsubscribe and comment about how much you hate me, how I'm racist, and thrust my name down there, watch the video. And then you can do whatever you want. Unsubscribe, dislike it. I don't care, but just watch the video. When we think of equality and freedom, people tend to associate that with the Democratic Party, which in reality is completely wrong. Ever since it was founded in 1829, the Democratic Party has fought against every free major civil rights act. The Democratic Party defended slavery, started the Civil War, opposed Reconstruction, and founded the Ku Klux Klan. But that's not something you will learn in school, because guess what? Liberals run the education system. The Republican Party was founded in 1854 as an anti-slavery party. I'm gonna say that again for the people in the back. Anti-slavery party, and their mission was to abolish slavery completely in the Western Territories. 7 Democratic justices voted in favor of slavery, and 2 Republican justices opposed it. And this leads us to the Civil War in 1861 to 1865. Do you guys remember that great commander-in-chief that freed the slaves? Abraham Lincoln. Guess what? And 6 days after the Confederate Army surrendered, John Wilkes Booth, a Democrat, assassinated him. The Vice President Lyndon Johnson assumed the position as president, and he was a Democrat. Luckily, the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments were still passed because of universal Republican support. And because of this, 22 Black Republicans were able to serve in the US Congress. Democrats didn't elect any Black people in Congress until 1935. So this Reconstruction occurred from 1865 to 1877, and that's because federal troops came in to grant Blacks power. After they left, Democrats took back their power in the South. White supremacy was reestablished, and laws were put in place to restrict Blacks once again. Black codes, poll taxes, and literacy tests, all used to subvert Black citizens. And this was all done by fear and terror from the Ku Klux Klan. And the founder of the KKK was Nathan Bedford Forrest, who, lo and behold, was a Democrat. Idiots! Eric Foner, who himself was a Democrat, said, in effect, the Klan was a military force serving the interests of the Democratic Party. Really? What makes you say that? That's so odd. Wow. Then the only opposition that came to the landmark Civil Rights Act in 1964 came from the Democrats. But the Republicans were the ones that were able to get the extra votes to get this law passed and truly free Black people in America and end segregation. So when the Democrats' efforts failed to enslave Black people, they had to come up with a new tactic. Since Black people are now able to vote, they might as well get them to vote Democrat.
Wait a minute.
Here is the irony of it all. President Lyndon B. Johnson, who was in the House from 1963 to 1969, had this to say about the Civil Rights Act. Go ahead and read it. I'm not gonna say it. This is a quote from Carol Swain. The Democratic Party prospers on the votes of the very people it has spent much of its history oppressing. Democrats falsely claimed that the Republican Party is the villain, when in reality, it's the failed policies of the Democratic Party that have kept the Blacks down.
It was all a lie.
But Tori, all of this was years ago. The Democratic Party has changed. Well, no. Don't get me wrong, I have tons of friends and family members that are Democrats, and they are good people, but the ideologies they support are not helping the Black community. These are statistics that I found from Candace Owens that get no coverage, that are very disturbing, that do not get talked about. 75% of Black boys in California don't meet state reading requirements. In 2016, in inner cities like Baltimore, within 5 schools, none of the students were found to be proficient in math or reading. The single motherhood rate in Black communities was at 23% in the 1960s and is at 74% today. More black babies are aborted than born in New York City. Whether you are pro-life or pro-choice, it is evident that Planned Parenthood is targeting black women. But that's not something you'll hear on the media because it doesn't fit the left's agenda. And these issues were all because of Democratic policies. Policies put in place to protect us. But that protection was just disguised as oppression. And this is where you have to be very perceptive of the media you are being fed every single day. It comes in a form of fear constructed by the left. These politicians use these terrible crimes that happen to innocent people as ways to gain the black vote. It's happened before from the Democratic Party. Fear tactics were used by the KKK to suppress us in the past. Why is this new news? They make us feel afraid, they make us feel oppressed, they make us feel like we don't have a place in this country, and they mock the very existence of our ancestors that bled and died so we could stand here today and be free. And how do we react when they use these fear tactics every 4 years to get our vote? We allow them to make us feel like victims. Exactly what the left wants. They swoon in and promise that they can save us as long as we vote for them. But that protection was just disguised as oppression. The left does not care about black people. They care about votes.
Structure of the Negro community, it's controlled by the white liberal.
Let's take Hillary Clinton, for example. A white liberal who knows absolutely nothing about black history, claims she keeps hot sauce in her purse, and has a Beyonce concert.
Who usually poses as the friend.
I think she's actually trying to just get our vote, guys. And then we have Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe. He said something along the lines of, if you have a problem figuring out whether or not to vote for me or Trump, you ain't black. Wow, Joe, you have my vote. Please don't take my black card. We gotta talk about Obama. With his 8 years in office, 13 million more people were on food stamps, and 8 million more people were living in poverty. But it's okay because he's black and he understands us, right? And before COVID-19, 14 states had record low unemployment rates under the Republican president, Donald Trump. Facts tell truth. Before you blindly follow behind a crowd, do your own research. Formulate your own opinion, not off of what's popular, but off of what's right. The problem with our society is we don't take the time to truly educate ourselves, and we allow people to have power over our mind. I want to see an actual change in the black community, and that is not going to happen until we stop allowing ourselves to be controlled and manipulated. I will not be victimized by a political party that oppressed our ancestors and is trying to oppress us today.